Good morning, it is 10 to 8 on Monday morning, and this is my first video in 2 weeks. Sorry guys, I've had a few people message me and just asking, am I still doing the videos, am I still trading? Yes is the answer. I've actually been quite poorly the last couple of weeks. I actually ended up in hospital, ended up going in for an operation, so I'm still recovering from that, but yeah, I've been pretty damn ill, to be honest with you. So for the past 2 weeks I've done nothing. It feels good to get back into the charts because I've hardly looked at them in 2 weeks, and this is my first trade. So if I just zoom in excuse me, if I just zoom in a little bit here, what we actually have here is a high and tight flag, and I've actually waited a little bit longer than usual to get involved in this trade, but what I'm going to do is excuse me, I'm going to delete everything off, and let's have a look at the higher time frame analysis. So let's go out to the dailies and have a look and see what actually is going on in the charts. This is the dollar yen now on the daily time frame, and bigger picture there's nothing, to be honest with you. So let's just zoom in. The only thing I'm looking at really is we came down, we had this double bottom. The market broke above, we failed to retest the highs, then we pulled back for a 26.18 trade. So you can see we came into that 618 fib retracement. We put in several higher closes. On Monday we put in a bit of a pin bar, a bit of a hammer, and today we're trading as though this is going to be a higher close, though obviously we've got the rest of the day to go here. But just based on the 26.18 and the higher close and the pin bar, I really only want to be long, looking for a retest of these highs and potential secondary targets up here if I was trading based on the daily time frame. So if we look at the 240, this is telling us a slightly different story. We had this triple test up here, 1, 2, 3. You can see the market tested up here. We then broke to the downside. We had a pullback. We then broke to the downside again. We had a pullback, then a pullback again, and then we have actually, with this candle here, made an initial structure high. But for me, we're still within the structure level, so still looking for shorting opportunities if I was looking on a 240 time frame. There is a potential for a flag pattern here looking like this, though it is not one I'm going to take because the pole here is not good enough. It's not directional enough. Though if we do approach the structure level here, I will be looking on the lower time frames for a double top and a chance to get involved in that double top, because it does look as though we are adhering to that channel. So if I just zoom in here, so again we have made an initial structure high here, and really just looking for a continuation up to this level here, up to that box, which is that trend line. And if we go to the 60-minute time frame, you can actually see here now we've had quite a nice bullish run, and then we've had sideways consolidation. And if we go to the 15, this is really where you can see that high and tight flag, and I did hold off just entering that because I wasn't 100% happy with it, but now I am. So you can clearly see here now we've had a touch, and if I zoom out, this was our previous new high here, and as you can see we have actually closed above it, giving us an initial structure high. So two targets here. So if I put a fib on here, first targets are always the 127. In this scenario I am going to hold 4 secondary targets, and they're going to be a retest of that structure high which I told you about on the daily time frame. So that 127 comes in at 113.40. I do believe we can go higher than that. I do believe we can get up to this highlighted box, which is also Just hang on a minute. Just making sure I've drawn my fib out from the right place. Yeah, where's my target there? It should be the 127. Yeah, no, we can go for extended targets here. Okay, well, first targets are just 1 pip below that 127. I'll then be holding for secondary targets, which are going to be a retest of this structure level here, which is on the daily time frame. So not a massive trade this. We're looking at that's it, 16 pips for target 1 and a risk of 12 pips. So my stop has gone 5 pips below the lows here, and I'll go ahead here and just delete everything off, and I'll actually set an alarm for target 1s and see if we can get up there. If we do, I'll then be able to roll to break even. And we're back just for a little update on this trade. As you can see now, we've actually broken out of the channel. Come around 5 pips from targets here. I have just made a slight change, and I did say in the video that secondary targets were all the way up based on the daily time frame. Well, because of my entry here, I don't think I'm in a position to hold for that, because as you can see here, the structure level here, we've had a couple of tests, and if we hit targets and I move to a couple of pips past break even, if the market was to pull back, I'd be stopped out instantly. So not in the best position here to hold for such big targets. So what I have done is I did mention that there was a potential flag pattern, not one I can trade, but with this flag stroke channel, you can see here that we've got potentially holding for a second test up here now. On top of that, it's also an AB equals CD pattern, you can see here, and that AB equals CD pattern actually has 2 fib ratios. We have the 1618 and the 1414 coming in up there, and it also comes in at this pretty much this level here, which you can see has been we've got a zone there that's been tested. So what I've done is that I have moved secondary targets to 1 pip below that 1618 extension, and that might actually be an AB equals CD pattern of here as well. Let's have a look. Yeah, it is. So there we go. So move secondary targets there. It just means now that well, we still have the risk of 12 pips. We still have target 1s at 16, and target 2s now a little bit more realistic, 29. Okay, I've just resumed the video here, and you can see that we've come back down into a raise here. So what happened is we had the breakout, we've pulled back into structure. Obviously all this entire area here is structure, and what I've done now is just implement risk management. So I've moved my stop a couple of pips higher up, because we have had the breakout. I'm not anticipating price to come back down and come below these lows here. If that was to happen, I would assume I'm wrong, but the trade is still valid, and so I'll pause the video again and we'll come back and see if we can now continue up to get those targets. And we're back, and we have once again gone into profit on this trade. Painful trade, but this could be quite a positive movement that we're seeing here, because as you can see here, we've come back down to retest these structural lows. We have not closed below it, and what could be happening now is we had a rally up, a pullback, a new structure high, a pullback, putting us in trend, and if we go up here and hit targets, that'll give us another new structure high, and it'll actually put me in quite a good position for secondary targets up here. Of course, we need to get first targets first of all, but there we go. And we're back again for an update. My alarm has just been triggered here and we have just hit targets now for 16 pips. So I'm going to move a couple of pips past break even here and we will hold for secondary targets. And we're back for what should be the final update on this trade. Currently 4 pips away from target now. Just waiting for this thing to push up. Just as a reminder, we are playing a couple of pips before that 1618 and about 5 pips before that 1414 extension of the AB equals CD pattern. So and that should bring us in as well a few pips just before this trend line. Okay guys, and we're back and targets have just been hit, secondary targets have just been hit. So we banked 8 for target 1, 15 for target 2, so total of 23 pips banked on that trade. What a lovely trade to come back to from a first trade for within 2 weeks. It's nice to be in a winner. So there we go, dollar yen 15-minute flag plus 23 pips.